The world is slowing down now. Somewhere far behind you, in the bustling noise of the waking day, clocks are still ticking and the air is still filled with the hurried rush of things to do. But here, at the very edge of evening, all of that begins to dissolve. You do not need to carry those things any longer. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let your hands unclench, resting softly where they lie. Take a slow, deep breath in, drawing the cool, quiet air all the way down into your chest, and as you exhale, let go of the last lingering weight of the day. The sun is making its slow, reluctant descent, painting the horizon in strokes of bruised lavender, muted rose, and the palest butter yellow. It is the hour of dusk, that sweet, suspended moment between what was and what is to come. The light does not vanish all at once, rather, it softens, blurring the sharp edges of the world until everything looks as though it has been brushed with a layer of fine, silvery dust. The air smells faintly of sweetgrass, cooling earth, and the distant, clean scent of approaching night. You find yourself standing at the edge of an ancient, rolling meadow. Ahead of you lies a path, narrow and inviting, winding its way gently downward into a timeless valley. This is not a path of stone or gravel, it is woven entirely of living things. As you take your first step forward, your feet sink just a fraction of an inch into a carpet of velvet moss. It is cushiony, cool, and impossibly soft beneath your soles, absorbing the sound of your footsteps until the only thing you hear is the gentle, rhythmic whisper of the breeze moving through the tall, seed-heavy grass. Every blade of moss seems to glow faintly in the fading twilight, holding on to the last vestiges of daylight just a moment longer than the rest of the world. With every step you take, a tiny, soothing release of scent rises around you, a mixture of rich loam and crushed pine needles. The ground feels forgiving, cradling your weight, inviting you to walk at a pace that has entirely forgotten the concept of haste. There is nowhere else you need to be. There is nothing else you need to figure out. Right here, on this soft green ribbon of earth, time stretches out, wide and deep and quiet. On either side of the path, clusters of wild evening primrose are beginning to unfurl their petals. In the daylight, they were tightly bound secrets, but now, as the shadows lengthen, they open with a slow, deliberate grace, releasing a sweet, heavy fragrance into the cooling air. Above you, the sky is shifting from blue to a deep, velvety indigo. The first star of the evening has just blinked into existence, a single, diamond point of pure white light, steady and calm, watching over the valley like a silent guardian. The path dips lower, leading you deeper into the embrace of the hills. The sounds of the world you left behind are completely gone now, replaced by the symphony of the gathering twilight. A meadowlark sings a final, liquid lullaby from a nearby branch, its notes falling like sweet water into the stillness. Somewhere close by, a small stream babbles over smooth river stones, singing a low, hypnotic song that matches the slowing beat of your own heart. Hush, the water seems to murmur. Hush now. Rest, The trees that border the valley are ancient and wise, their gnarled branches stretching upward like open hands, catching the last whispers of the wind and turning them into a soft, rustling sigh. Their leaves are cast in deep silhouettes against the glowing sky, framing the landscape like a painting made just for you. As you walk, you notice how the worries of your mind, the lists, the thoughts, the phantom pressures of tomorrow, simply cannot follow you down this path. They are too heavy for this moss, too rigid for this soft air. One by one, they drift away from you, floating up into the evening branches like autumn leaves let loose upon a stream, leaving your mind clear, vast, and empty, ready for rest. The descent is gentle, almost effortless, as though the earth itself is carrying you along. You are enveloped in a cocoon of safety and profound peace. The valley below is pooling with gentle shadows, a sanctuary of stillness where the night comes not as a threat, but as a warm, heavy blanket, wrapping the world in darkness so it may finally dream. You are safe here. You are entirely at peace. Take another deep, slow breath, feeling the cool air fill you with quiet, and let yourself step further into the gathering dusk, ready for whatever gentle wonders wait for you just around the bend. You step around the bend, leaving the open vista of the twilight valley behind, and the world softly shifts. Here, at the threshold, the dusk deepens into a velvet canopy of indigo and violet, and you find yourself entering the Whispering Woods. There is no abrupt transition, only a gentle folding of the landscape around you, as if the forest is welcoming an old friend who has returned after a long journey. The air changes instantly, it grows cooler, silkier, carrying the rich, earthy scent of damp moss, crushed pine needles, and the sweet, night-blooming fragrance of nocturnal blossoms. Every breath you take feels cleansing, washing away the remnants of waking thoughts and replacing them with a profound, untethered quiet. The path beneath your feet is not paved with stone or dirt, but with a thick, springy carpet of ancient moss that muffles your footsteps entirely. To walk here is to glide. It feels effortless, as though gravity itself has decided to hold you a little more lightly, carrying you forward on a tide of pure serenity. All around you, towering sentinels of wood and time rise into the gathering dark. These are ancient trees, their trunks broad and ridged with centuries of quiet endurance. But they are not sleeping. As you pass, a soft, mesmerizing wonder reveals itself in the dimness. High above, weaving through the interlaced branches, and all along the textured bark of the massive trunks, a faint, comforting bioluminescence begins to glow. It is not a harsh or startling light, but a gentle, pulsing radiance, the color of seafoam, pale jade, and mother of pearl. The leaves, catching this inner light, shimmer like tiny lanterns hung by unseen hands. They cast dappled, fluid patterns of light and shadow across the forest floor, painting the path in slow-moving constellations of green and gold. This luminous glow is your guide, casting away any lingering shadows and replacing them with an ambient, womb-like warmth that feels both vast and intimately protective. As you wander deeper into this dreamlike grove, you begin to notice a sound. It is not the silence of a vacuum, but a living, breathing quiet, filled with the softest music imaginable. The trees are murmuring. It is a collective hum, a low, resonant cadence that vibrates just beneath the threshold of human words. They are singing lullabies, ancient and slow, timed precisely to the rhythm of your own breathing. Hush now, the leaves whisper, brushing against one another in the gentle night breeze. Rest well. You have arrived, The cadence rises and falls like a slow ocean tide. A tall oak to your left sighs a deep, cello-like note that vibrates pleasantly in the soles of your feet. A cluster of silver birches further along chimes in with a sound like wind chimes made of glass and starlight. The music wraps around you, a tangible blanket of sound that insulates you from the rest of the universe. There is nothing else happening in the world right now except this forest, this light, and this song. You reach out a hand, your fingertips brushing the rough, cool bark of a passing cedar. The moment your skin makes contact, a small cluster of moss nearby brightens just a fraction, pulsing in time with your pulse, acknowledging your presence with a quiet, welcoming warmth. It is a moment of pure, silent communion with the earth. You are not a visitor in these woods, you are a part of them, welcomed and embraced by the silent watchers who have stood guard here for 10,000 years. The path curves gently to the left, winding around the massive root system of a grandfather tree that loops gracefully above the ground like a wooden wave frozen in time. You step easily over it, your body moving with a fluid, dreamlike grace. The bioluminescent glow intensifies slightly here, pooling in a small clearing ahead like a lake of cool, green moonlight. In the center of the clearing, the air seems to shimmer with tiny, drifting motes of light, forest fireflies or drifting spores of glowing moss that dance in slow, lazy circles, suspended in the heavy, peaceful air. They move with absolute tranquility, never rushing, simply existing in the quiet perfection of the night. You pause in the middle of this luminous glade. You look up, watching the radiant canopy sway ever so slightly against the darkening sky, where the first real stars are beginning to wink into existence, mirroring the glow of the leaves below. The whispering of the trees swells into a final, soothing crescendo, a wave of pure auditory comfort that washes over your shoulders, down your spine, and settles deep into your limbs, making them feel wonderfully heavy and completely relaxed. Your eyelids feel drowsy, kissed by the cool, fragrant air of the woods. The journey has been long, but the destination is here, and it is more peaceful than you ever imagined. Take one more deep, slow breath of the luminous, pine-scented air. Feel the gentle light of the ancient trees warm your face, and let the soft lullaby of the whispering woods carry you gently toward the next quiet wonder waiting just ahead. The path beneath your feet gradually widens, the tightly woven canopy of the ancient trees parting just enough to reveal a vast, open expanse of stillness. You step out from the dappled shadows of the forest and find yourself standing upon the shore of the lake of glass. It is a place of breathtaking, quiet perfection. The water is so impossibly still that it is entirely impossible to tell where the shoreline ends and the reflection begins. The surface acts as a flawless, dark mirror, holding within its liquid depths the entirety of the night sky. Countless stars, glowing with soft, buttery ambers, gentle lavenders, and cool silvers, twinkle lazily from both above and below, creating the enchanting illusion that you are standing at the very edge of the cosmos, suspended in a boundless ocean of peace. There are no ripples here, no sudden gusts of wind to disturb the glassy perfection, only a profound, velvety quiet that wraps around you like a heavy, warm quilt made of silk and starlight. The air here is cooler, carrying a refreshing, pristine purity that instantly clears your mind. It smells faintly of clean stone, night-blooming water lilies, and the sweet, lingering essence of distant pine. With every breath you take, your chest rises and falls in a slow, effortless rhythm, mirroring the absolute tranquility of the lake. A few feet away, nestled right at the water's edge, a patch of moss awaits you. It is thick, emerald green, and yields softly underfoot, shaped by time into a natural seat designed just for you. You walk toward it slowly, feeling the gentle hush of the night accompany every step. You settle down upon the moss, letting your weight sink comfortably into the earth. The ground is supportive and warm, holding you securely, allowing you to let go of the last remnants of the day's journey. As you sit, looking out across the vast, mirror-like expanse, you notice how the edges of your thoughts begin to soften and blur. Whatever worries or lingering tensions you carried with you have grown small, drifting to the edges of your awareness like autumn leaves floating far away on a slow current. You take a long, deep, luxurious breath, drawing in the cool, starkest air, and as you exhale, you mentally release every single muscle in your body. You feel it start at the crown of your head, a melting sensation, like warm honey smoothing out every crease in your forehead, relaxing the muscles around your eyes, and letting your jaw slacken. This wave of deep, restorative relaxation flows down your neck, smoothing over your shoulders. Your shoulders, which have carried so much without you even realizing it, drop heavily, completely relieved of their burden. The relaxation continues down your arms, traveling past your elbows, through your wrists, and all the way to the tips of your fingers, which tingle with a pleasant, heavy warmth. Your hands rest gently in your lap, completely at ease, needing to do nothing, hold nothing, and fix nothing. You feel the soothing warmth spread through your chest, steadying your heartbeat into a slow, rhythmic lullaby. The relaxation seeps down into your hips, flowing through your thighs, your knees, and your calves, pooling warmly in your ankles and feet. Your legs feel wonderfully heavy, securely anchored to the earth, as if they are made of lead and velvet. You are entirely comfortable, entirely safe, and entirely at peace. Out on the center of the lake, a gentle shooting star traces a slow, silver arc across the sky, its reflection gliding in perfect synchronization across the glassy water below. A faint, bioluminescent glow begins to pulse softly from the water lilies near the shore, casting delicate rings of lavender light that ripple outward for only a moment before dissolving back into the absolute glass of the lake. You watch the lights dance and fade, your eyelids growing heavier and heavier with every passing heartbeat. The world is so quiet here. The stars watch over you like ancient, gentle guardians. There is nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do, and no thoughts left that require your attention. You simply sit at the edge of the lake of glass, breathing in the starlight, wrapped in a blanket of absolute stillness, drifting ever closer to the borders of a deep, beautiful sleep. The air grows even softer, cooling just enough to send a delicious shiver of contentment across your skin, though you are far too warm and safe to truly feel the chill. As you sit at the edge of the boundless lake of glass, breathing in the starlight and wrapped in that heavy, beautiful blanket of absolute stillness. A gentle current of silver air stirs the shadows beside you. It is a whisper of motion, delicate as a moth's wing, carrying the faint, sweet scent of crushed lavender and night-blooming jasmine. Out upon the dark, mirror-smooth water, a shape begins to materialize. It forms not with a sudden splash or a heavy anchor drop, but as if it had always been there, waiting just beneath the surface of your awareness for the exact moment you were ready. It is a small, exquisite boat, crafted from polished, silvery wood that catches the celestial glow and casts a soft, pearlescent shimmer across the ripples. The hull curves with the graceful sweep of a swan's neck, smooth and flawless, untouched by the passage of time or tide. You stand, though your limbs feel wonderfully heavy, like silk weighted down with morning dew, and step easily toward the water's edge. The silver boat rests against the shore without a single tether, rocking ever so gently to welcome you. As you step inside, your feet sink into a deep, yielding cushion that is not made of cloth or down, but of actual, gathered clouds. They are woven together in layers of midnight blue and spun silver, cradling your form so completely that the boundary between your body and the vessel seems to blur. You lie back, and the clouds softly contour to your shape, lifting you, supporting you, erasing every remaining knot of tension from your shoulders, your neck, and your mind. With a barely perceptible glide, the silver boat drifts away from the shore, leaving no wake upon the absolute glass of the lake. The water here is so still, so utterly reflective, that you cannot tell where the dark surface ends and the star-studded sky begins. You are floating suspended in a boundless cosmos, held safely in the palm of the night. As the vessel moves further out into the quiet expanse, a slow, rhythmic lullaby begins. It is the sound of the water meeting the silver hull, a soft, whispering hush that laps against the wood in a steady, hypnotic cadence. Lap, drift, rest, lap, drift, rest, each gentle sway of the boat matches the slow, deep rhythm of your breathing. In, and out. Down, and deeper down. The movement is as gentle as a mother's hand rocking a cradle, moving you away from the waking shore and deeper into the heart of peace. Far across the water, half hidden among the weeping willows and the mist that hugs the distant banks, nightbirds sing their ancient lullaby. Their notes are few, far apart, and impossibly sweet, a low, liquid flute-like call that drifts across the glassy surface like smoke from a dying ember. The sound is muffled by the heavy, velvet air, reaching you as a distant, comforting hum that vibrates softly in the back of your mind. It is a song that has been sung to the stars for 1,000 years, a song that tells you that all is well, all is quiet, and the world is holding its breath just for you. Above you, the stars watch like ancient, gentle guardians. They do not twinkle with sharp, demanding light, instead, they pulse with a slow, steady glow, breathing in and out in a silent rhythm of their own. A constellation overhead seems to shift its weight, bending down closer as if to tuck you in tighter beneath the vast, dark quilt of the night. You watch them through half-closed eyes, noticing how the light blurs and softens, turning into shimmering pools of silver dust that drift slowly across your vision. There is nowhere else in the universe you need to be. No duties wait for you on the other side of this water, no thoughts remain that require your careful attention. They have all drifted away like fallen leaves, sinking silently into the bottomless, clear depths of the lake. You are entirely weightless, cradled by clouds, guided by the stars, and rocked by the gentle lap of the water against the silver boat. Your eyelids grow heavier still, feeling as though they are lined with lead, so wonderfully, deliciously tired that keeping them open requires more effort than you are willing to spend. You let them drift closed. The darkness behind your eyelids is not empty, it is warm, velvety, and filled with the softest echoes of starlight. With every slow sway of the vessel, you sink an inch deeper into the clouds beneath you, sliding effortlessly, peacefully, toward the deep and beautiful borders of sleep. The silver boat answers to the current now, needing neither oar nor compass, gliding on the dark satin of the water with a motion so smooth it is indistinguishable from stillness. The cool night air brushes against your cheek like the whisper of a distant wing, carrying the rich, earthy scent of damp moss, blooming night jessamine, and the ancient, sweet smell of river reeds. With every breath you take, the tension in your shoulders uncurls, melting away like morning frost under a gentle sun. You are entirely untethered from the rush of the world, floating upon a tide of pure, unhurried time. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the gentle rhythm of the voyage shifts. The water beneath the boat grows shallower, clearer, reflecting the deepening indigo of the overhead sky with the mirror polish of polished obsidian. With a soft, sighing rustle of long grass against timber, the bow of the silver boat slides gently ashore. There is no jolt, only a profound settling, as if the river itself has tucked you into bed and pulled the quiet up to your chin. You open your eyes just a fraction, peeking through heavy, reluctant lashes, and find yourself resting at the edge of a vast, sweeping meadow. The grass here is thick and plush, woven from blades of deep emerald and silver green that ripple in slow, hypnotic waves under a passing breath of wind. It looks soft enough to swallow you whole, a deep ocean of verdant stillness stretching out toward low, rolling hills that blur softly into the horizon. And then, as your gaze drifts upward toward the twilight sky, you see them. Rising from the center of the meadow, ascending in a slow, majestic procession, are hundreds of paper lanterns. They are crafted from impossibly delicate parchment, glowing from within with a warm, amber light that radiates a deep, comforting heat. They drift upward lazily, tilting and swaying like golden autumn leaves caught in a gentle updraft, making no sound at all as they mount the stairs of the night. As you watch them rise, a curious and wondrous sensation begins to bloom behind your ribs. You realize that these are not merely lanterns of wax and paper. They are vessels of quiet release. A stray worry, some lingering echo of the waking day, a forgotten task, a distant murmur of thought, drifts up from the back of your mind. As you look at it, you watch it detach itself from your consciousness and float outward, toward the nearest glowing lantern. The lantern catches the thought, absorbing the heavy little ripple of anxiety into its warm, paper heart. With a microscopic shiver of relief, the lantern releases the weight and drifts higher into the indigo sky, carrying the stray thought away, dissolving it gently into the vast, starlit peace of the night. Another thought arises, a fleeting shadow of hesitation, and it, too, is drawn away by the amber glow of a passing lantern. Up and up they go, taking your cares with them, painting the dark vault of heaven with constellations of floating gold. With every lantern that ascends, your body feels lighter. The leaden heaviness in your eyelids transforms into a sweet, floating sensation, as though your limbs are no longer bound by gravity at all. You sink down into the cushions of the boat, but the cushions feel less like fabric and more like a cloud made of spun sugar and deep sleep. The air around you is warm, holding the scent of burnt honey and old paper, wrapping you in a cocoon of absolute safety. There is nothing left to hold on to. There are no decisions to make, no places to be, and no echoes of the world to chase. The meadow breathes in, and the cool night air fills the valley. The meadow breathes out, and the lanterns drift higher, carrying the last remaining whispers of the day far beyond the reach of the stars. You take one final, slow, deep breath, tasting the sweet, tranquil air. Your chest rises and falls with the effortless cadence of the tides. The world narrows down to the gentle warmth against your cheek, the soft rustle of the meadow grass, and the amber glow of the lanterns fading slowly into the peaceful, boundless dark. Sleep folds its soft, velvet wings entirely around you, and you let go, drifting down into the deepest, most beautiful quiet you have ever known. Sleep folds its soft, velvet wings entirely around you, and you let go, drifting down into the deepest, most beautiful quiet you have ever known. In this quiet, unburdened by the weight of waking hours, the landscape of your dreams gently shifts, smoothing away the edges of the waking world until nothing remains but pure, untroubled serenity. A gentle slope rises before you, carpeted in moss as soft and deep as seasoned velvet. The air here is warmer, smelling faintly of dried lavender, aged cedarwood, and the sweet, comforting scent of hearth-baked bread. There is no wind, only a breathless stillness that holds the hillside in a perpetual, quiet embrace. Winding your way up the gentle incline, guided by an instinctive sense of homecoming, you notice a small, weathered cottage tucked snugly into the hillside, as if the earth itself had curved upward to keep it warm. The cottage is built of rounded river stones and dark, timber beams smoothed by centuries of quiet weather. A roof of thick green moss blankets the eaves, blending seamlessly into the hillside. From the fieldstone chimney, a thin, lazy wisp of pale blue smoke curls upward into the twilight, dissolving into the gathering stars without a sound. A warm, butter-yellow light spills from the small, diamond-paned windows, painting long, inviting ribbons of gold across the darkening grass. You approach the heavy oak door, its iron latch cool and smooth beneath your fingertips. With a faint, melodic click, the door yields, swinging inward on well-oiled hinges to welcome you inside. The interior is a sanctuary of profound peace. It is a room that exists outside the rushing currents of the world, a place where time has laid down its heavy burdens to rest. Low-beamed ceilings crisscross overhead, dark and comforting in the amber glow. The walls are lined from floor to ceiling with wooden shelves, upon which rest hundreds of curious, beautiful things, polished brass gears that catch the firelight, small glass vials holding captured starlight, dried bundles of chamomile and sage, and dozens upon dozens of clocks. Yet, there is no chaotic clamor of ticking. Instead, the room is filled with a rich, velvety resonance, a unified, breathing rhythm that fills the space like a lullaby. Standing proudly in the far corner of the cozy room is a grandfather clock, carved from rich, dark mahogany. Its glass face reveals a heavy pendulum of gleaming brass, swinging back and forth in slow, hypnotic harmony. Tick. Tock, it does not measure the anxious passing of hours or the hurried demands of the day. Here, the clock measures time in comforting heartbeats. Each swing of the pendulum is a gentle reassurance, a soft pulse of warmth that echoes in the soles of your feet and slows your own breathing to match its tranquil cadence. In. Out. Rest. Abide. A soft, inviting armchair upholstered in faded burgundy wool sits directly beside a hearth where a small, cheerful fire crackles in a low voice. On a nearby wooden side table rests a steaming ceramic mug, sending up a thin, fragrant curl of steam scented with chamomile and sweet honey. You sink into the deep cushions of the armchair, and the last remnants of tension dissolve from your shoulders, melting away like morning mist under a gentle sun. Your head rests comfortably against the soft fabric, and your eyelids grow heavier, weighted down by the profound safety of the room. The fire pops softly, a tiny punctuation mark in the grand, soothing symphony of the ticking clocks. The old clockmaker, a shadowy, benevolent presence moving with quiet grace in the periphery, adjusts a tiny gear somewhere across the room, ensuring the harmony remains unbroken. But you do not need to look. You are already sinking deeper into the cushions, melting into the woodwork, becoming part of the timeless peace of the cottage. The grandfather clock continues its slow, steady breathing beside you. Tick, the world is safe, the day is done, and there is nowhere else you need to be. Tock, you surrender entirely to the rhythm, letting the warm, golden silence wrap around you like a heavy, handmade quilt, carrying you even further into the heart of rest, where dreams are soft and time stands still. Tick, the grandfather clock breathes its steady, measured breath beside you, but now, its sound begins to soften, receding into the gentle background of your awareness like a distant echo in a quiet valley. Tock, the heavy, handmade quilt of golden silence tucks itself more snugly around your shoulders, holding you in a cocoon of absolute safety. You feel lighter now, as if the gravity of the waking day has gently loosened its grip. Your eyelids are heavy, lined with the softest velvet, and your breathing falls into a slow, rhythmic tide. With this breath, the cottage dissolves, and you find yourself standing at the foot of a wondrous, winding ascent. Before you rises a spiral staircase, carved not from cold stone or hard timber, but from the spun gold of forgotten daydreams and polished moonbeams. Each step curves upward in an effortless, sweeping arc, disappearing into a soft, pearl-colored mist above. There is no rush here. Time has folded in upon itself, stretching into a long, quiet eternity where you are entirely free to move at the pace of a drifting cloud. You place your bare foot upon the first step. It is neither cold nor warm, but possesses a comforting, neutral temperature that instantly eases the last vestiges of tension from your arch and ankles. The surface yields just a fraction, like moss underfoot in a shaded forest. As you lift your foot for the next step, a faint, chiming resonance, like a wind chime touched by a midnight breeze, softly sounds, harmonizing with the steady rhythm of your breathing. Up and up you go, turning in slow, hypnotic circles. The walls on either side of the staircase seem to breathe, shifting in color from a deep, velvety indigo to a soothing, twilight violet. Tiny points of light, no brighter than fireflies sleeping in a jar, flicker gently along the banister, guiding your hand without glare. You run your fingertips lightly over the polished wood of the rail, feeling its smooth, ancient grain. Every rotation of the spiral lifts you further away from the noise and clutter of the world below, melting your thoughts into harmless, drifting wisps of gray and silver. With every breath you take, the air around you changes. A subtle, restorative fragrance begins to fill your senses, growing richer and more distinct with every turn. It is the unmistakable scent of fresh lavender, bruised gently by the rain, mingling with the crisp, clean ozone of a summer storm that has just passed over a sleeping meadow. It smells of cool rain-washed windows, clean linen drying in the shade, and the deep, fertile earth at dusk. You breathe it in deeply, filling your chest with the calming essence, and let it out as a sigh that carries away any remaining weight in your shoulders. At last, your foot reaches the final step. You step out, not onto a hard floor, but into the chamber of velvet clouds. The room is vast, stretching out in all directions beneath a domed ceiling that mimics the infinite depth of a starlit night, though the stars here do not twinkle sharply, they glow with a soft, buttery luminescence, like distant lanterns seen through a veil of gauze. But it is the floor that commands your wonder. It is made entirely of thick, marshmallow-like clouds, piled high in pillowy drifts that stretch as far as the eye can see. You take a step forward into the expanse, and your feet sink instantly into the cloud stuff. It is impossibly soft, buoyant, and warm, wrapping around your ankles like a fleece lined with down. It is as if you are walking upon a sea of spun sugar and feathers, entirely supported, completely weightless. With every movement you make, the clouds whisper a soft, rustling sound, like dry autumn leaves brushing together in a gentle gust, or silk garments sliding over polished marble. You let go completely. There is no longer any need to stand, no longer any need to hold yourself upright. You allow your knees to bend and let yourself sink backward into the deep, welcoming drift of a cloud bed. The marshmallow-like vapor rises up to cradle your sides, your head, your arms, conforming perfectly to the contours of your body. You are suspended in a state of exquisite suspension, floating in the center of the quietest room in the universe. The lavender and rain scent envelopes you entirely now, a fragrant blanket that seals you off from the rest of reality. The ceiling above swirls in slow, majestic eddies of lavender, pearl, and softest rose. There is nothing to do here. There is nowhere else to go. You are held by the clouds, cradled by the night, and rocked by the gentle, eternal rhythm of your own deep, peaceful breath. As you drift in this sanctuary of clouds and quietude, your gaze is gently drawn upward, past the swirling eddies of lavender and pearl, into the vast and tender expanse of the midnight sky. Far above, where the velvet canopy of the universe stretches out into infinity, a profound stillness holds sway. Yet, in the heart of this great dark, something wondrous is taking place. You are not alone. High above the dreaming world, the constellation weaver is at work. In the absolute silence of the cosmos, the weaver sits upon a stool spun of moonbeams, bathed in a soft, luminescent glow. This ancient, gentle artisan moves with a grace that is both timeless and unhurried. Between long, elegant fingers, a shimmering spool of pure starlight turns, not harsh or blinding, but radiating a warmth as gentle as a dying hearth fire. With fingers that dance like falling snow, the weaver draws out long, gossamer threads of silver and warm gold, pulling them from the heart of distant nebulas and ancient, slumbering suns. Every movement is deliberate, bathed in a profound, hypnotic rhythm. Hush, the rhythm seems to whisper against the edges of your mind. Rest now. All is well. Watch as the weaver's hands move back and forth, weaving the luminous filaments together on a loom made of twilight and whispered wishes. There is no sound, only the visual music of creation. A thread of diamond-bright Sirius is crossed with the deep, sapphire-blue hue of the deepest night, bound together with the copper warmth of an autumn evening. As the threads interlace, they form a fabric unlike anything known to the waking world, a material that shimmers with the memory of every peaceful twilight, every gentle rain, and every safe, quiet moment you have ever known. The blanket grows larger, spreading outward from the weaver's hands like ripples on a glassy, undisturbed pond. It unfurls across the dome of the heavens, capturing the scattered stardust and folding it into a dense, soft pile of celestial fleece. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the weaver lifts the edge of this magnificent, glowing quilt. With a soft, sighing breath of cosmic wind, the artisan lets the blanket begin its descent. It falls from the stars with the weightlessness of a falling autumn leaf, drifting downward through the upper reaches of the atmosphere, gathering the scent of ozone and pine, lavender and cool rain, as it comes. It descends over the mountains, draping their jagged peaks in velvet shadow and silver fringe. It settles over the whispering forests, tucking the pine needles and sleeping ferns into a deep, dreamless slumber. It blankets the quiet valleys, the sleeping rivers, and the resting towns, wrapping every rooftop, every quiet room, and every tired soul in a cocoon of unyielding peace. And now, it reaches you. The edge of the starry blanket descends into your cloud-filled sanctuary, brushing against your toes with the lightness of a moth's wing. It moves upward over your ankles, your shins, and your knees, radiating a steady, deep-seated warmth that melts away any lingering tension in your muscles. It flows over your hips and torso, conforming effortlessly to the shape of your body, pressing you down into your bed of clouds with a comforting, protective weight. You feel entirely swaddled, completely cocooned in the fabric of the universe. The starlight woven into the blanket does not glare, instead, it pulses with a slow, rhythmic heartbeat that matches your own. In. Out, the warmth seeps into your skin, chasing away the chill of the day, leaving behind a profound sense of safety and belonging. You are wrapped in the very fabric of the cosmos, held by something ancient, benevolent, and entirely protective. The weaver gives one final, loving adjustment to the blanket near your chin, smoothing the starry border so that it rests just beneath your eyes. Through the delicate weave, you can still see the gentle, slow swirl of the lavender and pearl ceiling, now softened by the golden glow of the celestial quilt. The ultimate depth of night has arrived. The world outside is fast asleep, wrapped in the same warm, protective embrace that holds you now. There is nothing left to watch, nothing left to think, and nowhere else in the entire universe you need to be. Your eyelids grow heavier, weighted down by the starlight and the soothing warmth. Your breath slows, becoming deep, even, and untroubled. The lavender scent fills your lungs, and the cosmic blanket holds you fast, a timeless promise that you are safe, you are loved, and it is finally time to sleep. The final whisper of the starlit journey fades into the velvet air, dissolving into a stillness so profound it feels like breathing in liquid velvet. Here, at the very edge of the map, past the borders of thought and the shifting horizons of the waking mind, lies the harbor of deep sleep. The waters below are entirely glass, mirroring the ancient, slow-blinking constellations above in an unbroken expanse of midnight blue and silver. There are no ripples here, no currents to navigate, and no anchors to drop. The vessel that has carried you across the quiet expanses of the night has gently drifted against the wooden piers of rest, its voyage complete, its sails softly furled against the mast of time. You step, or rather, melt, from the deck into an embrace that has been waiting for you since the world began. It is an endless, warm embrace, wrapping around your shoulders, your hands, and the gentle arch of your spine like a weighted blanket woven from liquid sunlight and softest wool. There is no cold left in the universe, no sharp edge of reality, no demand of tomorrow. Everything has softened at the edges, blurring into hues of dusk lavender, warm amber, and the deepest, most comforting indigo. The air itself smells of old paper left in the sun, of rain-washed cedar, and the sweet, heavy perfume of night-blooming jasmine that lingers just at the threshold of the senses. It is a breathable, nourishing warmth that sinks right down through the skin, past the muscles and the tired bones, reaching straight to the very center of your being. With every passing second, your body feels heavier and lighter all at once, heavy with the sweet fatigue of a long day successfully traveled, and light as a single dandelion seed floating on a midnight breeze. Your breath has found its ultimate rhythm. It rises and falls like the slow, infinitely gentle swell of an inland sea touching a sandy shore. Inhale the peace of the quietest edge of the night, exhale every lingering thought, every unspoken worry, every ghost of the day that has just passed. They drift away from you like autumn leaves settling onto the surface of a forest pond, sinking slowly out of sight until the mind is as clear and smooth as polished river stone. The world outside has vanished, folded away into the great, dark library of the universe, leaving only this quiet harbor and the rhythmic, lullaby-like ticking of an invisible clock that measures time not in seconds, but in sighs. Your shoulders sink an inch deeper into the mattress, which now feels as supportive and yielding as a cloud made of down and dreams. The pillow cradles your head just right, absorbing the last stray thought and turning it into a wisp of vapor that dissolves into the dark. There is nothing left to watch. The stars have dimmed to friendly, distant embers, keeping a quiet watch from afar. There is nothing left to think. The machinery of logic and planning has powered down, its lights winking out one by one until only a soft, rosy glow remains behind your closed eyelids. And there is nowhere else in the entire universe you need to be. This bed, this room, this exact fraction of time is the center of everything. You have arrived. You are home. Drifting now. Effortlessly. Like a feather caught in an updraft of warm, scented air. You slip past the guarded gates of consciousness, where the sentries have laid down their spears and fallen asleep at their posts. The water of the harbor laps against the hull of your resting self, hush, shoo, hush a song as old as the moon. Colors begin to bloom behind your eyes, not sharp or bright, but shifting like oil on water, deep purples bleeding into midnight blues, softened by threads of spun gold. These are the colors of the dreamscape opening its gates to welcome you. You step across the threshold without a sound, leaving the weight of the waking world behind on the shore like a pair of shoes you no longer need. The embrace tightens just a fraction, a maternal holding, a deep, cosmic reassurance that tells you, you are safe. You are held. You are deeply, profoundly loved, The edges of your body blur into the dark. You can no longer tell where you end and the peace begins. Are you resting on the bed, or are you floating on the surface of the midnight sea, cradled by the arms of the night itself? It does not matter. The distinction is lost in the sweet, syrup-thick haze of impending slumber. A final, long exhale leaves your lips, carrying away the last trace of tension. Your fingers curl open, completely relaxed. Your jaw unclenches. Your heartbeat is a distant, soothing drumbeat, counting down the moments until you are completely, beautifully gone. Sleep takes you now, wrapping you in its infinite, warm quilt, carrying you far out into the tranquil waters of the sweet, restoring dream, where all is quiet, all is well, and the night sings you softly to sleep.